This is one of the simplest, most straightforward ways to write articles that are going to win on Google. So if you're not researching it ahead of time, you're missing the mark. Hey guys, it's Megan. Welcome back to my channel. Before you forget, if you could please do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. That tells YouTube that you are here and that you are enjoying my content. Let's jump right in. I'm always encouraging you guys to do more as writers than just churn out content and fill up the word count. Strategy and research and keyword research and SEO, they're all going to become more and more important over time. So if your method as a writer is purely, just creating tons of content and not really giving much thought to strategy, the content's going to fall flat, you're not going to deliver results, and you're not going to be able to hang on to your clients. So today I want to talk about one very important part of strategy that I see a lot of writers not even dismissing, they just don't know about it in the first place, and it's called user intent. We're going to talk about what it is, why it's important, why you need to care about it, and how you can use it to shape your own writing. User intent might sound a little self-explanatory, a little obvious. It refers to what a person is looking to find when they type a search query on a search engine, on Google. For instance, if I go on Google and I type in vegetarian recipes, I'm looking for vegetarian recipes. I'm not looking for the benefits of eating vegetarian. I want recipes. If someone goes on Google and types in tips for living a more eco-friendly life, that's exactly what they're looking for. They're not looking for the ramifications of producing a lot of waste. So I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but as we discuss this, you're going to see, why it's so vital and why a lot of people are kind of getting it wrong. So that's what user intent is. Again, it refers to what the user is trying to find when they type something in Google. Why should you care as a writer? Our tendency when we are creating new content is to try to do something completely new and unique and different. And that's understandable. Our intentions when we do that are to try to stand out in this sea of content, because the internet is so saturated with copy, with written content, and it is hard to stand out. The reason you don't want to go and reinvent the wheel when you are blogging about a specific topic is because Google is already showing you what's winning. Let's keep going with my vegetarian recipes example. If a client assigns you with this blog, your approach might be something like, okay, I'm going to write this huge blog and I'm going to talk about what vegetarianism is, what you can and cannot eat, what the health benefits are, what the mental benefits are, the environmental benefits, and then I'll provide a bunch of recipes. I get the rationalization there, but the problem is that if you take that approach with your content, you are not satisfying user intent. Now, if you were to type in vegetarian recipes, and this is purely an example I'm making up on the spot, but this is how it works. If you go on Google and search vegetarian recipes and look at what's already ranking on page 1, you don't want to take what they did and completely redo it, because you already know that these pages, these articles are winning, and you know they're winning because Google put them on page 1. Why are they on page 1? There are a number of factors, but we know that Google's top priority is customer service. They want people who use their search engine to have an amazing experience. So Google's goal, the algorithm's goal, is to give people exactly what they're looking for fast. And Google knows if there is an article on vegetarian recipes that tons of people are clicking on and reading and sharing, Google goes, oh, people really like this, so I'm going to rank it higher. So in general, The web pages that Google puts on page 1, it puts them there because that's what people like, okay? So if you were to go and you're researching before you write this blog and you search in Google vegetarian recipes, you should be going to everything that ranks on page 1 and look around. Look at those pages. What are they talking about? How are they talking about it? You want to look at what they're doing that got them on page 1 and look for patterns. I would bet money that if you were to compare the first 5 results on page 1, you would see that they have at least a few things in common. And they did something right because tons of people started clicking on those pages, saw what they wanted to see, and over time it kept snowballing, and Google ultimately put them on page 1 because they satisfied user intent. People typed in vegetarian recipes, clicked on those links, got all the answers they were looking for, and they were happy. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. You want to take what the winners are already doing, use it as inspiration, don't copy it, but use it as inspiration and look for ways to make it better. When we say make it better, we don't mean change it entirely. If you notice that the articles ranking on page 1 for vegetarian recipe are very bare bones, are literally just recipes and nothing else, then you don't want to go in there and add personal anecdotes and the benefits of vegetarianism and all this extra stuff, because we're seeing that the articles that are already winning are just recipes, plain and simple. There are other ways you can make content better. You might find opportunities to add more images or videos or to make it more mobile friendly, but in general, Google gives us a lot of help. It gives us a lot of guidance kind of on a silver platter. It's already telling us what's performing well. You don't have to guess what people want. Go to page 1, see what people are already writing about that topic, that keyword. That's what users want. That is what satisfies user intent. A big takeaway here is that when you are creating content for the internet, your number one goal should be satisfying the reader. You write for the reader. It's a little bigger than that because yes, you also want to write for Google, but because Google's priority is satisfying the reader, your priority should probably be satisfying the reader. And then there are other things that you can do to satisfy just Google. The reader doesn't care if you have a high traffic, low competition keyword, and they don't care if the keyword's in the title and the URL and an H2. The reader doesn't care, but Google does. We use keywords and we optimize our content to give Google clues as to what we're writing about so they can start to determine how to rank us. So that's why we still care about satisfying Google and making the search engine happy. But we're learning more and more that making keywords and SEO and optimization your top priority, it's still a huge piece of the puzzle. But if you are purely writing for Google, it's not going to cut it. You need to be writing for the readers, for the users. If they're not happy, it doesn't matter how perfect your keyword choice is. It doesn't matter how perfectly optimized the content is. If the readers aren't happy and they're not reading your work and clicking on it, you're not going to rank well. There's another really important reason we should care about user intent. It's a little more difficult for me to explain, so I'm going to go right into an example to help illustrate it more. Years ago, I worked for a digital marketing agency, SEO agency here in Vegas, and one of our clients was a dentist. And so obviously we created blog content around, oral care and health and teeth and gums. You get the point. It was so random. It was definitely not planned. We had one blog rank really, really well and get a ton of traffic for a keyword that was something like Johnny Depp's teeth. And if I remember correctly, and this was a while ago, but I think in that article we had mentioned in some capacity Johnny Depp's teeth in one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies because they were all jacked up. And we mentioned that in this blog. We definitely would not have optimized the blog for the keyword Johnny Depp's teeth. But for some reason, that started gaining traction in Google. And people searching for Johnny Depp's teeth, which apparently people are searching for, were landing on this dentist's blog. Here's the problem with that and how it ties into user intent. Yeah, the client was getting lots of extra traffic, but they were getting traffic from people searching for Johnny Depp's teeth who were not looking for dental services. And likewise, the people looking for, searching for Johnny Depp's teeth on Google, I'm willing to bet, weren't looking for a Las Vegas dentist. They were looking for something about Johnny Depp's teeth. So yes, initially that blog was ranking for that keyword, but it was not satisfying user intent. So people were clicking on the blog and probably clicking right off because they saw that they weren't going to find the information there that they wanted. And ultimately that hurts a website. Getting tons of traffic is good, but if your bounce rate is really high, meaning people click the blog and then immediately leave, that raises a red flag to Google. They're going, wait a minute, people are seeing this blog, but they don't like it. It doesn't satisfy user intent, so they're immediately leaving. And Google can ding you for that. So the important lesson here is, if you notice your analytics behaving funny like that and showing that you're getting tons of traffic for a completely irrelevant keyword, you need to take that into consideration and use it to maybe revise that content. But also there are people who will use this tactic to intentionally manipulate their content with the goal of getting tons and tons of traffic through an unrelated keyword just for the sake of getting traffic. But look at the example I just gave you. Yeah, the client got traffic, but it was the wrong traffic. Those people will not stay on your website. You will not convert any of them into clients or customers or patients. So really it's irrelevant. If anything, like I said, you're just going to hurt yourself. You're not going to trick Google. It's too smart. It's too sophisticated these days. You're not going to get by with, like trying to manipulate the algorithm or use any black hat techniques. We used to be able to get away with that. Years ago, things like keyword stuffing did work. Buying backlinks did work. That was how some websites landed on page one. They would do things that were a little more sketchy and dishonest, and there was a time when you could get away with it. You can't anymore. You can try, but you're going to hurt yourself or hurt your client, and it doesn't work anymore. And honestly, it's not a good long-term approach. Those black hat techniques are, I don't even want to call them quick fixes. I don't even want to call them band-aids. You're trying to trick the platform and you can't. So, whether by accident or whether it's an approach you're taking to, like I said, intentionally manipulate the content and the keywords, that will not work in your favor, and it will probably hurt you sooner rather than later. So if you see a page getting traffic for kind of an unintentional keyword, or if you had any plans of doing that on purpose, it's not going to work. Again, this all goes back to user intent. A user typing in Johnny Depp's teeth, like I said earlier, didn't want to see a blog from a Las Vegas dentist. They wanted to learn about Johnny Depp's mouth. Good example of why you need to be careful with keywords. Don't try to pick keywords just for the sake of getting tons of traffic, because if you're not satisfying user intent, it's not going to work. It will backfire. User intent. Very quick recap. It is what people are intending to find when they search for a specific term in Google. Writers, you should care about this, because when you write about a certain topic, you want to make sure you're delivering the content that people want to see. How do you know what they want to see? Search the topic in Google, click on the articles that are already ranking on page one, and look at what they're doing. Google is telling you flat out, this is what people want to see. So that means that the content that you create should be something like what's already ranking, but even better. I beg of you, Don't be one of those writers that's just doing this with blogs, creating content and handing it off, and that's the end of it. You're not gonna make a good income with this mindset. Your clients can go on Fiverr or Upwork or wherever and find someone to write 1,000 words for $5. They can get it for much cheaper than they can get it from you. What they can't get for cheaper is the quality, the value, the strategy, the results. That's why we're able to charge so much. We're not just delivering content, we're delivering results. So get comfortable with research, get comfortable with keywords, with SEO, with user intent, with doing a little more homework and a little more digging before you sit down to write a blog. I guarantee you, I promise you, that this will only increase the value that you can provide as a writer, and as a result, you will be able to charge more, your clients will be happier, you'll hang on to them longer. This is a long-term approach. If you want to be a professional writer, don't try to cut corners or take shortcuts. Quality matters above all else. Once again, if you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up button and tell YouTube that you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about user intent, just drop them in the comments. I always respond. And if you have a topic you'd like to see covered in a future video, you can also leave me a comment with that. And don't forget to subscribe, and happy holidays! See you guys later.